Hey, it's Holly. In today's video, we are diving back into the mystery of the map, part 2. So I have not talked about this for probably a year now, or haven't done a video on this, because I've been building up my collection and trying to collect as many Pollyville sets as I can. But effectively what happened, if you haven't seen the first video, and I'll link to it here, but if you haven't seen the first video, basically what happened is I went to a antique mall and they had some Polly Pockets and I bought a whole bunch of them. And they had one of the plastic playmats and I bought it just thinking, oh, I'll just have it as a spare, assuming that it was the playmat that came with the Light Up Magical Mansion. Then I went to do a video on the Magical Mansion, and when I opened up that playmat, because the one that I have with my Magical Mansion, which is open but in box, was so nicely folded up and, you know, crispy, I decided I would just use this one instead. And then I unfolded it and realized this is a different playmat. So then I thought, oh, cool. And I started to Google it and I can't find any record of it. To the best of my knowledge, what we've kind of pieced together through this community is it was likely a Canadian mail-away item. We believe it was probably from Hudson's Bay Company, a department store here in Canada. And it was likely just you sent in your proof of purchase for a bunch of Pollyville sets and then you would get the playmat. I'm starting to really feel that that story is likely very plausible, and I say that just because I haven't seen any of these around. So I'm sure there's a few out there, but it being a mail-away item likely makes it fairly rare for that reason. So then I decided, well, since there's no information on this, I don't have any marketing photos, I want to try to figure out if there's certain sets that are supposed to go with this, because I love a mystery, and that leads us to where we are today. So I had made some best guesses in my past video, but I really didn't have very many Pollyville sets compared to what I have now. So now we're able to go through and just try to line everything up and see what we can come up with. So let's get into it. Okay, so I have all around me basically all of my Pollyville sets except for 2. I do not have the Magical Mansion down here, and I do not have the Bouncy Castle because it's the only set I don't have, but I have everything else. So just to recap on this map, this is from 1996, so it's dated at the bottom, 1996. So I feel like that's a bit of a hint because in theory, everything should be 96 or prior, although, you know, you never really know. So we'll start with the ones that are kind of dead giveaways, in my opinion, and then I put sticky notes all over it because I'm going to write down what fits and then kind of work from there. So I have now collected almost all of the Pollyville sets except for the Bouncy Castle. And I don't think the Bouncy Castle is part of this, so that's why we're moving forward. So we can see that there's 2 really obvious ones. There is a hospital here with a hospital sign. There's also a supermarket because there's shopping carts. So I'm going to go ahead and just lock those ones in. Something I noticed about doing this is if you look at the size of the square, it appears to be basically identical to this. So this fits just so, as does this. So that leads me to believe that some of these, or maybe all of them, are meant to be for specific sets. Okay, so that's what we're going to roll with. Now, this one over here, I have a feeling, personally, I believe that this is meant for the treehouse. And I say that just because the treehouse has a tire swing, it has a river running through it, and I feel like that all lines up in terms of how this would work. So it does fit inside the kind of This one's not as obviously square, but it does fit. So I'm going with the treehouse on that one. Now the rest of them is where it starts to get kind of interesting. There are some hints on this page, on this map, that I'm going to point out. So over here, there is a playground. Over here, there is a school bus stop. However, there's also a school bus stop here. Mailbox here, that doesn't really ring any bells for me. There's a pool over here. This gate, some tables to sit and eat with what appears to be ice cream cones on it. And then over here, there's an ice cream cart. And that's really kind of all we have to work with. Now you'll notice that yes, there are multiple bus stops, but that's not necessarily weird. It's just how towns work. But it does give us a place to start. So I have a few kind of ideas about this one, and I'll walk you through my ideas. So my first one was the light up hotel. This one, sorry, this one's very flopsy. The light up hotel, I feel, goes here. And I say that only because it does kind of fit, but not perfectly per se, but it does have a similar gate. That may or may not be the case. Looking at it under the same idea, the church could work there because the church also has double doors, but I feel like this looks a little bit more like the light up hotel. Now in my previous video, there were a lot of comments that this one would obviously be the school, and there's two reasons that I think that that might be correct. One is that this one is very obviously a corner, so that would kind of make sense. And the other is that there is a bus stop outside. But if I put this here, it kind of fits the square, but it doesn't really fit it this way. If you can see that, it really quite overshoots it. And then there's this gap here. If I put it this way, which is a bit awkward, it does work. It also would work the other way, but again, it's a bit awkward, but it does fit. So we're gonna leave that one there for now. Now, here's where this gets kind of interesting. We know that there appears to be some that involve food. So we have a few options for food. We have the pizza place. We've got the burger stand. We have the beach cafe. And we have an ice cream parlor. So that's what we have to work with. So using that same idea, if I put this here, this one does fit really well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write ice cream on that. This one also fits the beach cafe. Now, that one might seem like a weird one to put there. And I will say, I don't think it's the beach cafe. However, there are a few things that make it plausible. It does fit almost perfectly. There is also an ice cream cart, or in this case, an ice cream freezer. So it's kind of similar, but it's got sand and I don't see sand anywhere else. So I don't feel like that's the one. The drive-through burger restaurant, that one it doesn't quite fit. So in my opinion, that one is a no. And then if you look at this one is just way too big. So I don't think that that one goes there. That's why I am leaning on this one being the ice cream shop. There's an ice cream cart. I feel like that one kind of makes sense. So I'm going with ice cream on that one. Okay, so that brings us back over here. This could be a number of things. Now, this one doesn't fit yet again. But it does have 2 tables out front. I just feel like they have made this a certain way for that reason. So I don't know if this one makes more sense to have here. That doesn't particularly fit very well, to be honest. Does this one fit here? That one actually fits there a bit better. That one does not. This is hard. Well, we'll see. Those might get swapped. I don't know. Okay, so we're gonna leave that for now. Now, the other ones is where it gets kind of interesting. This one has a playground, and there's a few that could make sense for that. One is the school, but I feel like the school makes sense there. The other is the nursery, which does have a playground. It's got a swing, it's got a seesaw, it's got a slide. I feel like that kind of makes sense, but it doesn't particularly fit very well. The other one could be, I mean, it could be the church, but I doubt it. The bay window house does fit here fairly well, but does that make sense with the fact that there's a playground? I don't know. So this one, for that reason, I'm keeping this one as my contender for now. So that brings us over to this corner. Now, looking at the map right now, I feel like everything that's on here basically is services. This one's a hotel, and then the rest of them are things like, you know, a daycare, a supermarket. We have cafes. Don't know. With this one, I don't know. But a hospital, a school, right? So I feel like the other 2 would be services. So what we have left, there's a lot of things left, but we've got a bowling alley, the burger stand, pizza place, pet shop, dress shop is the new one, toy shop, the bridal salon, the church, and the dance studio. Okay, so that's kind of what I think are services. In terms of just general housing, we have Grandma's Cottage, Cozy Cottage, the ski chalet is over here, the beach house, right? And then we have the Shady Tree playset and the Palm Tree playset. So again, just looking at it, I don't know that a lot of things would work here. Just because it does seem like it's more of the shops and services, whereas maybe the other playmats were meant to be more of the residential areas. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm going off of at the moment. So just to try what fits. This fits here really well. So that spot could be the toy shop. And there's really no other hints there, right? There's a mailbox, but there's mailboxes all over the place. So it could be the toy shop. This one also fits. That is the dress shop. My writing is really messy right now, bear with me. Now the dance studio is an awkward shape, and I don't feel like it particularly fits well anywhere. There's the pet shop, but it's a bit of an awkward fit. Kind of fits there, so we'll come back to that. The burger drive-through kind of fits there, but then you'd just be driving on the sidewalk. I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, same thing there. And then we've got the pet shop. Oh, we just tried that. What am I doing? Bowling alley. Now the bowling alley is a bit of a unique shape, and it's not really in line with the other Pollyville sets, so I feel kind of weird about that one being there. And then the other ones are, again, like houses. So like that fits, but does it make sense? Does not fit there. It's a little bit too big there. This one's just way too big. That one fits. So that one fits, Cozy Cottage fits in that spot. And then these ones are like too narrow to be anything. Again, this is me going off of the assumption that those squares are meant for something particular. Now, just to play devil's advocate here, the nursery is too big for those spots. The beach cafe fits on that one. As does the ice cream parlor. And the beach house is too big. Okay, so this spot could be the toy shop, the ice cream parlor, the dress shop, Cozy Cottage, or the beach cafe. Now, because looking at these spots, really all that fits in these two are the ice cream parlor and the beach cafe, and they have tables outside for eating. I'm kind of leaning heavy on that. However, I'm starting to wonder, even though this one's got tables, this one doesn't necessarily have to make sense here because there's a hedge here and this ice cream cart might be part of the supermarket. It might just be a street vendor, right? So this one doesn't necessarily have to be food and it doesn't fit perfectly. So I am going to change my mind on this one. What else fits here? That one does not quite fit. That is too small. What could fit there? And this one's got to be too big. That one's too big. This one's going to be way too big. No, the nursery doesn't quite fit there. What else could be there? I mean, we could put Grandma's cottage there probably. See, that one fits. This is where it gets confusing. Okay, I mean, that could work. That could work. But it would blow the idea of them being services, right? Now, this one, if we say the ice cream is going to go here because it's the remaining one that has food, then, and I'm not going to put the beach cafe there because I don't think that that makes sense. That would mean it's either Cozy Cottage, the dress shop, or the toy shop. So the dress shop would have been, so this would be a 95 set. So that would kind of make sense. It would be one of their newer sets. But that doesn't necessarily have to mean that it's that one. Could also be the toy shop, depending on when some of these things were released, because just because the date is on the back of a set doesn't mean it was actually released that year. So this map could have come out before the dress shop, for example. That one could be the toy store. So what would this one be? I think we decided that that one fit the pet shop. Clothes, it doesn't quite fit. What about this way? It's slightly too big. One's too big. It could be, no, that one's too big. Nope. See, the bowling alley kind of fits, but it doesn't make sense to me. Let's try this one again. So one's too big. That one is the closest. It seems slightly too big, but it is the closest. This one is technically smaller than this spot, is a little bit longer. It could fit that way. And actually looking at that now, that might make sense that that's the pet shop, because we do have some houses facing that street. We have some things facing here, some things facing here, and then some things facing here. So that kind of makes sense. Now, I guess we should talk about the other spots. So Grandma's cottage fits there. It's really the only one that fits there. Although I say that, this one might also fit there. That one does fit there, but not as well. That is about... Yeah, Grandma's cottage fits better. And again, this makes sense to have the playground there, but that could also be something else. These ones aren't as defined with a square, right? So what else could fit here? This one, I mean, I feel like this doesn't work. That doesn't make sense with the playground. And then these, you think there would be tables, right? So I feel like that one doesn't make sense either. This could be a house, but there aren't really houses that are wider than they are long, and that's clearly the front. So I feel like this one still does make the most sense, even if it's a bit of an awkward fit. What about this one? See, don't you feel like it should just fit right in there? Think of what else would go there. This is the only other one that's kind of wide, but no, that doesn't fit there very well. So we have some options, but I feel like that's not the church. And I also feel like this one's not the church. I feel like this makes the most sense out of what's there, but this does cover. Doesn't fit perfectly. And again, like the ski chalet doesn't really fit anywhere, and that just feels like it's the front gate. Now, there was an option of us having the school here, but that one, just so that people understand why I'm choosing not to put it there, it doesn't really fit. I think the school fits best here, even though it's slightly awkward the way it's placed. But the gate of the school would make kind of sense, wouldn't it? But then the sidewalk doesn't, so I'm gonna stick with this. This one again could be, but I feel like this just makes sense. I feel like that makes sense. And then this, maybe, I don't know. I feel like that's what I'm going with. These really don't fit anywhere unless we were to put them here. Previously I had said that maybe this was the pizzeria just because it fits very well, but it seems very awkward in that spot. And it very clearly is too big here. So, I don't know. I think that's what I'm going with. Here I am with all my sticky notes that I didn't use, but this doesn't seem to fit anywhere unless you were to put it here. That could be a thing, but again, last time the comment was that this really seems like it's the place that the school bus stops. Plus there is this, and that's why we kind of landed on that being the school. So that's what I'm gonna go with. I think that this is my best guess here. Now, of course, some of these spots might be interchangeable, and however someone wants to play with it is fine. But the reason I'm doing this is I'm just curious how this was marketed, because I can't find any information on this playmat. And, you know, when these things were marketed, they probably had marketing photos of, you know, certain sets being played with on here. And I do feel like a lot of these are just so specific that the shape of it only really makes sense with a particular set. So that's why I've been spending all this time doing this. So let me know your thoughts. Do you think they were made for specific sets? Do you think that I'll ever find the marketing photos for this? This is my best guess. So this is what we're going to go with. So thanks for coming on that stream of consciousness with me. As you can see, there's so many Pollyville sets to work with. I will say, of the ones that are out here, there's only 4 that light up. One of my original thoughts was maybe it was all of the light up sets, but I will say that doesn't seem to be panning out. The light up sets are quite large and wouldn't fit in the smaller places. So yeah, so that's why I've made these choices. So that's what I'm going to go with. That's currently my my final answer. But I would love to hear your thoughts. All right, so how do you feel about that? That's my best guess, what I'm working off of. I don't know. There might be some that are more flexible, but I would love at some point for someone to come across these videos and hopefully just tell me that they have one too, or have more information on it, just because it is kind of frustrating that it so far seemed to be the only person that has this, and that can't be true. So hopefully at some point someone will stumble upon this and be able to give me more information. But for now, that's the best guess that I have. That's what I'm working with. So again, I would love to hear your feedback in the comments on what you feel the map should be laid out like, if you think I made any mistakes. Just love to hear your thoughts. I just love little puzzles like this, and I also love trying to figure out information that's not actively available on the internet, you know, like trying to find out stuff from the 90s that just didn't get documented. So or see if I can dig up the documentation, right? That would be the ultimate goal here. So we'll see. There might be a part 3 of this down the road, but for now, until I get any other information, that's what I'm going with. So here we are. It is a new week. Thank you so much to everyone that tunes in every week, subscribes, comes to my premieres. I really appreciate all of you so much. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do that. It helps out the channel so much. We are so close to hitting 5,000 subscribers, which is so awesome. And if you are on social media, you can also find me on YouTube. No, we are on YouTube. On Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. Just look up Pocket Vintage Toys. You'll find me. That's the best place to connect with me outside of YouTube. But that's it for today. So as always, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.